What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well on Patriot Day. Kind of a somber designated day here, but we're going to try to make the best of it that we can. Welcome. Welcome. Feedback. Hang on one second. All right, guys. Hopefully you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me. Technical difficulties. Always, always. Thumbs up. All right, Jim. Jim says you guys can see me, so that's good. Good deal. All right, Relic. Thank you. Again, let's try this one more time. Welcome. Glad everybody here. Good to see you. Tonight's going to be a little bit different. Normally, I'm leaving the stacking video behind for now. Tonight is strictly this is what I call off the record, and the reason being is because I'm separating it from my stacking videos. I wanted to touch on some things that are, you know, not stacking for once. We got a lot going on in our country, a lot going on in the world, and I think we should have an open forum and talk about it. Hopefully, you guys are in a talking mood tonight, so we'll see what's going on. Oh, let's see. West, you had congrats on being monetized, by the way. That's awesome. We'll talk in a bit. Let's see. Aries, you didn't need your tinfoil hat. Yeah, Jim, we got Eric, Kevin Hawthorne. How are you? OTG in the house. OTG, don't be afraid to be OTG. It is what it is. Tonight is more of a this is more of a wide open forum, which is why I put the mature audiences only. So Snake says it's just unreal what it's become. We can't even walk down the streets anymore. Yeah, we just had in Charlotte, we just had uh, a blonde girl, I guess, was just randomly stabbed on a train or a bus. No reason, no reason at all. And they basically people watched it happen. Nobody, as she slumped over bleeding in a pool of her own blood. Nobody stopped to help her. Everybody just stared at her, walked on, walked away. So, what's up, Silverstruck? Good to see you, sir. Yeah, that's kind of where we are today, and that's why I wanted to do this little episode tonight. Wanted to talk about 9/11 a little bit, kind of honor those who sacrificed, and go over the Charlie Kirk thing real quick. Not in detail, but just to kind of get a feel of what's going on. OTG, you always have something good to say. I don't know what you're talking about. But let's go ahead and start this with 9/11. That is the reason we have Patriots Day. It is important. I don't care how many years have passed. It's very important that we continue to honor the legacy of those who didn't make it through that day, those who served, uh, firemen, police, anybody that went running in and didn't come out. So we owe it to them each year, really, to continue to honor their memory. Um, a lot of families were affected by this, in 3 different states, really. So, you gotta do what we gotta do, right? One of the reasons I 9/11 personally almost brought me back to the service. I was all but sworn in, and, this wasn't meant to be. They at the last second, they didn't have the duty station that I was looking for. They didn't have any open billets. So, I didn't go back in, although I was definitely ready to go. I think a lot of us were fired up. But if you think back on 9/11, you think about where you were, I guarantee you everybody in here. Hey, Peter, welcome. I guarantee everybody in here knows exactly where you were and what you were doing, when that news personally, I was in the car driving to work, and I remember the news coming over the radio, the morning show host. Yeah, damnedest thing, I guess a little plane crashed into the World Trade Center. At the time, they thought it was an accident. Something happened. They thought it was like a little Piper Cub or a Cessna, and little did we know that information was woefully inaccurate, fortunately. So, yeah, that's where I was. I was going to work, and then shortly after that, it was, okay, so we got big fires raging, and watching the towers collapse, I would have never guessed. Never guessed that that would have taken them down. Never would have guessed that. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody in here can remember exactly where they were. Um, in the end, regardless of how many conspiracy theories there are connected to 9/11, 9/11, uh, let's not lose focus of those we lost. That's the important thing. Yeah, you could talk all day. We could make a 2, 3, 4 hour show on conspiracies alone tied to the World Trade Center. Um, it's still raging to this day. There is no shortage of conspiracy theories. And you've heard them. They're all the common ones. Uh, just before the plane crashed, the owner of the tower just had a huge insurance policy. Aviation fuel doesn't burn hot enough to melt steel. It was a controlled demolition. We've all heard that one, and an inside job. And key US government individuals had foreknowledge of this thing. They knew it was gonna happen, and we did nothing. So, just like good point, Jim, just like 1963 with JFK, um, we know where we were, we know what happened, and it's hard to let things like that go. Back in the day, the JFK shooting was unfathomable, it was incredible. I wasn't around for it, but I've seen the movies, I've seen the clips, I've seen the live clips and all that good stuff, but, stuff like that, it really affects us as a nation, and this affected us as a nation. Um, but again, tonight isn't about conspiracy theories because that's not the purpose of Patriot Day. It's not. The purpose of Patriot Day is to honor those we lost. Bottom line, nothing else. All right. So, as always, we're going to keep them in our thoughts. But let's move beyond all that for a second. Highly unlikely we're going to know the truth. Highly unlikely. We've had conspiracies in the past where JFK wasn't shot by a lone gunman. It was an inside job. The government shot JFK. That one's been around forever. Um, Landing well, UFOs. What else? Pearl Harbor. To me, Pearl Harbor was a setup, but that's another story. We just kind of parked our stuff conveniently as a way to entice the Japanese to attack. This is what I've always believed. And once they attacked, government knew that the U.S. population would say, "All right, strike back. We're in," because we didn't want in. We did not want to join World War II. We didn't. So you have to create something. And I'll always believe that they parked a nice move to attack. It gives you a reason to go to war. War is money. War is money, folks. Bottom line. Um, so yeah, again, truth coming from our government, think I don't think we're ever gonna get all the facts. And unfortunately, that's what starts conspiracy theories. It is what it is. Yeah, West, it's anytime you don't get the information you need, public's gonna make up their own, period. They're gonna make up their own, and that's what starts conspiracies. Um, Yeah, Peter, that was incredible. It was insane. It was a turned into a worldwide event for sure. Everybody was watching. Um, I mean, could 9/11 have happened the way it appeared? Sure. Uh, are there underlying factors that led to the mission being completed? I'll always believe there was something involved. There was some kind of involvement that we're not aware of, but who knows, right? We don't know. We don't have the facts, and they're not giving it to us. But get over all the conspiracy crap. All right, the running total. This is what matters, not conspiracies. These numbers are what matters to me, and it should matter to all of us. 2,753 lives lost at the World Trade Center. 2,753. That includes responders, people in the building, etc. It does not include people who died after the fact from sucking up all that toxic crap that we're trying to rescue people. We lost 184 at the Pentagon total, and passengers and crew who fought back on Flight 93 in Shanksville when they forced the plane down. At least that's told. Hey, Bill, good to see you. So that's a total, and this is the only number that matters to me. 2,977 innocent lives. It's the only damn thing that matters to me. I don't give two craps about conspiracies. I don't care. Okay. The fact of the matter is, we lost almost 3,000 Americans or people who were visiting the country. Innocent lives. They had no control over that day. None. None. It's BS. So we can talk all day about conspiracies. There are a lot of inconsistencies. I agree with that. I do. But I also think that we're not being told the entire truth. So all that aside, the number that matters to me is 2,977. Period. End of story. Now, ironically, here is the irony that came out of 9/11, completely unexpected, but this was an after effect of the event. Um, one positive thing, this country was probably more aligned and together than they'd been in years. In years, this country was unified. Skin color, all of a sudden, it didn't matter. Okay, we were all Americans first. We weren't Italian Americans, African Americans, we weren't Irish American. We were Americans. Okay, we were divided. Everybody had resolve. We needed to get whoever came and did this to us. We'd never had an attack on soil. Remember that. We never had an attack on US soil until that event, okay? That really set a precedent. It hasn't happened since, but guys, if you don't know that there were terrorist camps, training centers already here in the United States, they've been here for years, have been. And the last president's, policies, of lack of border control did not help that situation. So, we just opened the gates and said, "Come on in, come on in." So we did get one positive out of that. The country was united for the first time in a long time. Skin color, nationality, it didn't matter. You're American. Okay. At that point, you're an American. Okay. Everything didn't last. What would we get? Maybe 6, 7 months out of that. And then we were right back to where we were. So again, let's make sure today, today's almost over. It's already coming up on 9 o'clock, but hopefully today you took a second to reflect on those we lost. Um, It's a time to put conspiracies to the side. You got the rest of the year to worry about conspiracies, right? Today was a day to honor those who we lost, period. Emergency responders, fire, police, port authority, um, civilians, visitors from other countries. And you've all seen the videos. Uh, People had to make a decision above the burning part, the burning line. They were going to burn up or they were going to jump. And to watch that, to see people jumping because they couldn't take the heat anymore, fluttering through space. I'm sorry, that was heartbreaking. I consider myself a pretty hard guy. It takes a lot to get me emotional, but watching somebody make that decision because they had no other decision to make and make that you're gonna die. Just you gotta take a pick of how you wanna go. Wanna burn up? Die of smoke inhalation? Or do you wanna just, hey, take a last flight and Maybe you'll have a coronary on the way down. I don't know. None of us would want to be faced with that scenario, but they were, okay, and it had to be terrifying. The whole thing had to be terrifying. So, it sucks. It really does. But again, regardless of conspiracies, these folks aren't coming back. They're not coming back, and we may never find out the whole truth, so let's just focus and keep the ones we lost and their families. Um, let's keep the focus on them. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and play a little bit of background here. Alright. I don't know if this thing's actually working here. Alright, that's good enough. Alright, so back to government. Do I trust our government to give us truth and valid information? No. I'm sorry, but I don't. Look, I'm a patriot, served my country in peacetime and war, but I do not trust our government to give the information that we need. Um, I hate to say that. It breaks my heart to say that, but I just don't. It is what it is. I'd pick up a rifle again. Absolutely would pick up a rifle again and do it and defend this country if I was asked to. Even if I wasn't asked to, I'd do it again. But I am not going to pick up a rifle for another country. I'm not going to be sent overseas to battle somebody else's war like Ukraine. I would never do that. If we've got something going on here, I'll defend this country. I'll defend my family. I'll defend my household. I am not going overseas to fight somebody else's battle. Not happening. We already did that. I've been there and done it. Not doing it again. So, look, again, I love this country. I don't like where we are at this point in time. Um, it's odd. We talked in our live yesterday about Rome. Rome was torn apart from within. Rome wasn't defeated by an enemy. It was defeated within. Politics, finances, people. It just they ate themselves alive. Hey, Kraken, good to see you. They ate themselves alive from within, and that's what brought Rome down. If you don't see the similarities here, you're not paying attention. You're just not paying attention. All right. All the things that happen to Rome, their currency bombed out, politicians fighting for power. It was a bad time to be an emperor. You were lucky to make it a year. So, yeah, a lot of similarities. And if you don't see that, you're not looking, you're not paying attention. But it's what it is. But as far as trusting politicians, I don't trust them any more than I can take them. Because I think we do remember for the people, by the people, right? That one time that was how we operated for the people, by the people. Um, I think that concept bit the dust decades ago. Decades. I think that concept died. Politicians have been crooked for more years than we've been alive. It is what it is. And we're given little to no choice of who to elect. Basically, when we go to an election, to me, it feels like we're picking the lesser of two evils because we have no choices. We have no choices whatsoever. Let's face it, politics are predicated on wealth. If you don't have it, you ain't getting in. All right? You're not getting in, period. Before the people, by the people, nah, nah, that's dead. It's dead. They don't care. Politicians do not give two craps about this country. It's about what they can do for themselves. And if you disagree with that, I respect that. That's just how I feel. I'm not changing my opinion on that. I've seen way too much to think that they have our best interest in mind at this point. Um, there's a quote. There's a quote in Braveheart, and it takes place as William Wallace is addressing the nobles and the council. And basically, it says, "There's a difference between us." This is going to sound really familiar. There's a difference between you think the people of this country exist to provide you with position. I think your position exists to provide those people with freedom, and I go to make have it. He was going to do politicians wouldn't. The noblemen didn't want to fight because they didn't want to sacrifice their positions. Okay, they knew if they fought, Edward would probably take away all their land, their possessions, probably kill them, because they killed noblemen before. Edward had no problem with that. They feared losing monetary things, okay, things that didn't matter in the end. That was their choice. Wallace wanted to fight for freedom of his people. That's all. Okay, no gold, night ship, none of that stuff. Okay, he wanted freedom. So the same battle. I feel like we're fighting that same damn battle. Same battle, hundreds of years later. It's insanity. It's insanity. But again, that's not going to go too crazy on uh, 9/11. Again, Patriot Day is for those we lost. So please keep them in mind. Kraken says, I think the politicians rewrote the laws while showing everyone else in the world UFOs. You know how it is, rule by distraction, right? Create a distraction, change the rules. Go figure. So I don't know. I just we gotta look out for us. We've got to look out for ourselves, folks, because the government's not going to do it for you. They're not going to help you in retirement. They're going to take as much of your retirement as they can. They're going to screw you there. Um, yeah, West, the illusion of power, and they have most everyone fooled. Mostly, I think there are quite a few in our community here that see right through that bullshit. I think there are quite a few. Um, that's why we're stacking. That's one of the reasons we're stacking. We don't trust the system. We don't trust the fiat. We don't trust the government to take care of our needs. It is what it is. It is what it is. But, yeah, so 9/11, hopefully every you guys took at least a moment to, remember those we lost, and, today was their day, alright? Today was their day. Bill says he loves the retired Marine hindsight, and I'm right there with you. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate that. Um, I am a little bit more to the point, I guess, and you guys don't see that side of me in our lives, and definitely not in my videos because I feel like that's a separate entity. So, I might be needed on occasion in my videos, but you won't see it like you will here tonight. I am just letting it all out, period. All right, next, let's talk really quickly. Uh, Patty said, "We've been in a civil war for a while and nothing's finished yet. It's been building up, hasn't it?" And I'm telling you. And who's behind that? Politicians and media. Okay, they're a part. Check, welcome. How you doing? Thanks, Bill. Appreciate that. Um, yeah, it is what it is. But next up, we're gonna talk about I wanted to keep this to about 30 minutes, 45 minutes at the most. I didn't wanna drag it out tonight. Wanted to keep it short and to the point. Let's talk about Charlie Kirk. It's no secret that you guys know me. If you know me and you've listened to me or you've been a part of my channel, you know I lean toward the conservative side. I'm not hiding that. There's no secret. I am a conservative. But quite a few stackers in the community are as well. I think it's pretty common. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things for me. I swear it doesn't. I don't choke down everything the grand old party uh, tries to sell me. Do that. I try to be an independent thinker, think on my own, and think about what's best for my family and everyone else, everybody else in my life. I don't always agree with the way this country is being run. Past, present, I don't agree with everything. So yeah, I'm a conservative. I lean Republican. Doesn't matter. I would rather see, regardless of party and affiliation, I don't care which one takes over this country. I wish there would be somebody who would put the people first and put this damn country first instead of sending all this foreign aid to a country that couldn't even stand us before all this happened. Ukraine, I'm looking at you. You know, I find it so ironic that people are, oh, I stand behind Ukraine. They put the little Ukraine flags and their logos. They use it as their little symbol. And I'm like, do you even know anything about Ukraine before Russia invaded? Do you know anything? They're one of the most crooked countries out there. And you got a guy that will not step down from power until they can't even vote him out at this point. They're in a war. The longer they're in a war, the longer this guy, Zelensky, stays in power. He's not leaving until the war ends. And let's face it, that's probably God knows how much longer that's got. But it's the same old bullshit. We're trillions and trillions and trillions of equipment. dollars, whatever. Here's the thing. Does anybody, if you do the math, does anybody realize when we stop to think about it, you know how much that money could have helped us here, our country? 1 in 5 kids last night went hungry in this country, 1 in 5. There's Vietnam vets, there's vets from all wars sleeping in boxes on the streets, okay? We're sending trillions of dollars. Our infrastructure is falling apart by the seams. Our education system sucks. We have completely lost standing in the world. We're ranked number 1, number 2, top 5. We're not even on the damn list anymore for most key topics, and that's sad. But if we'd have taken that money that we sent off to a country that really doesn't care about us, what do you think they'd do if we needed help? They wouldn't even lift a finger. But if we'd have taken that damn money and put it towards us, towards the home front, maybe we could fix this stuff. Maybe we could start putting the money where it goes. Put it back into the school system. Put it back into defense schools. Get these armed retired veterans to guard the schools. That's where the damn money should be going. But they don't care. They don't It's all about standing. Scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, okay? Homeless veterans, there shouldn't be one. There shouldn't be one unless he brought it on himself, alright? But still, he should have an outlet, or she, to get the help they need. Don't even start with the VA. The VA is freaking ridiculous, okay? We've got servicemen dying before they can even get the process started or even rolling. They've died waiting for help from the VA. It's bullshit. I'm sorry. It is. We need that money here. That money should be spent here, okay? I get it. We need to help other countries. I don't agree with that if we have needs here. This is our freaking country. That's our money they're sending, okay? We're getting taxed to hell, and that's where it goes? If you tax me, put it into the country. Put it back into the business, so to speak. Stop with the freaking foreign aid. Until we square away where we are now, we shouldn't have any foreign aid, period. Disagree with me? I mean, that's a strong stance. I get it. I am all about USA first, okay? Spend that damn money here. Spend it here. Stop giving it away. Stop giving away our hard-earned money to other countries that don't care. I have nothing. Look, I hate it for the civilians in the Ukraine. They don't want this war. I get it. We got crazy stuff happening here. I We gotta take care of ourselves. So, sorry about that. I feel pretty strongly about that. I've never agreed with the amount of foreign aid that we send. Never. And I never will. To the day I draw my last freaking breath, I'm not gonna agree with how much we send overseas. When we have as many problems as we have here, put the money into education, put it into law enforcement, put it into infrastructure. Get these damn kids. These kids are gonna be running this country. They're not getting the education they need. They're being taught by teachers and college instructors with agendas. They're pushing their agendas on them. I mean, come on. Come on. It's insanity. It's insanity. Let's see. Yeah, Southeast says the power grid is over 50 years old. Sure is. If anybody decides to EMP our asses, it's gonna be very easy. It'll be very easy. Czech says, 20 Russian drones crossed the border yesterday. That's insane. Insane. Iraq needs Sesame Street. Trying to buy friends and allies. Yes, sir. Snake says, thank you for a great honoring video for the ones who sacrificed everything, put themselves in harm's way. Uh, it was a pleasure, man. I was just one cog in the wheel. There were so many others that sacrificed far more than I did. All right, so let's talk about Kirk. Let's talk about Kirk real quick. Look, I get it. He's a firebrand, and some of his thought processes were AFU. All right, he was very intelligent, very researched. Some of his opinions were out, and I couldn't condone it. A lot. So, but does that mean somebody should be murdered? And let's face it, this was nothing but a political assassination. Call it what you will. This was a political freaking assassination. I don't care what any you can call it all semantics, but to me, he was assassinated. So it is what it is. A lot of people didn't like him because he brought a lot of facts. He based a lot of his opinions on facts. Again, taking away the ones that I don't agree with, some of that stuff is crazy that he was saying. He would argue with you till the cows came home, and people didn't like it. They didn't like it. And if you look at the guy, they've actually released a picture of the alleged shooter. This dude fits the freaking bill completely. Young guy, dressed shabby. He's typical. That's typically what I would have expected to be the shooter. Exactly. So, call it liberal, call it what you will. I don't think a Republican probably took this guy out. I doubt it. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. Um, but again, he wasn't a politician. All right. This guy wasn't a politician, although it's probably a no-brainer that he would have been at some point. Go figure. He was a conservative activist. That's what he was. Conservative activist. And the crap I've seen online, boy, I'll tell you, this is why my faith in humanity is at an all-time low. The crap I've seen online, people celebrating this guy's death because he was a conservative. You know what? I got 2 for you. They start with the F and a Y. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Celebrating anybody's death, and it's all the same crowd. It's all the same unwashed, filthy, non-working crowd. It's the same thing. It's ridiculous. It's and again, I'm trying to hold back a little bit. I don't wanna point fingers at certain groups. But I'll tell you what, it is what it is. But again, that's some disgusting low life subhuman BS if I ever saw it. If you cheer for somebody's death, and this guy, he didn't go easy. That was a shot to the neck where he started bleeding out immediately. Lights out, that's messed up. And they say the guy was about 200 yards away on the rooftop. They've got pictures of him. They've got some pictures of him. They've got a picture of him on the roof leaving after the shot. And then they got a picture of him going through a stairwell. So hopefully the internet and our forces will get this scumbag and give him what he deserves. Let me catch up on the chat here real quick. Jim Thompson says humanity is a failed experiment. I'm going to touch on that real quick, Jim, in just a minute. I would agree with you, except for one thing. L, welcome. Sorry I didn't see you. Concurrent Lion, welcome. Um, snuck in. I think we got everybody. Yeah. Free speech is so one-sided now. Yeah, if it's not what one side wants to hear, you get shot for, apparently. Bingo. Um, it's stupid. 30-06 larger. Yeah, Silverstruck says the horrible loss, the reaction videos from certain groups and people lacks class, to say the least. You said it nicely. Uh, I think they're all full of shit and karma, like Elle is saying. I, I hope it comes and it comes quickly for people that celebrate anybody's death. Even the Republicans, when what was that Minnesota lawmaker when she got shot near her own house or in her house? Some Republican, so they call it MAGA. We're cheering. Oh, good. That she deserved it. Blah blah blah. The bitch deserved it. Whatever. Are you serious? Come on. I don't Democrat or Republican. I don't give a damn what you are. Nobody deserves that crap. Come on. That's insane. We have really devolved as a people. Seriously. If this is the way we are now, I don't know if there's any hope for recovery. I really don't. I really don't. All right, but, again, bottom line, nobody should lose their lives. Nobody should lose their life because of their beliefs. Nobody. We all have the right to speak our mind. I'm doing it tonight. Again, you're seeing a side of me that you don't see, Stacker's Corner or my channel, because I've been doing the stacking thing, the videos for a while now, and I wanted an avenue to speak my mind a little bit, and I feel like I can't do that in the stacking videos or even Stacker's Corner for the most part, because we try to keep an even keel in the videos and the lives. Um, Politics and religion, they're like the worst thing to bring in to any conversation. Let's face it. So I gotta, that's why I did tonight. Big reason why I did tonight. But look, you're all entitled. Every one of us are entitled to what we believe in. We should never be shot for it. Never should never be killed. We've seen this act before. Trump's had 2 attempts on his life in a year's time, a little over a year. And again, that recent shooting death, I guess her name was, Melissa Hortman, the Minnesota lawmaker, shot and killed. And going back in time, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy. It just it goes on and on and on. It really does. Yeah, Snake, society has become numb. Really has. Really, really has. And the media, Al, good point on the media. I'm gonna touch on that when I close out here in just a few minutes. Um, Look, it's really easy to look at our world at present. And Jim, this is kind of directed towards you. Hey, Liberty. Thanks for coming in. Craig, how are you? Good to see you. It's really looking at present times and say, look, this shit is bad. The people are falling apart at the seams. They don't know what bathroom to use. He's are turning into she's. And look, back in the day, I was all for you doing whatever the heck you wanted to do. It is your choice to do what you want to do. You have that freedom. All right. Just don't throw it in my face. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it. That it should be my choice. It's your choice to do whatever the hell you want with your private time. Don't throw it in my face. Okay. You know, I went to war for this country to defend freedom. And that if that falls under it, if you want to be a dude or a lady or whatever, that's your freedom. Do whatever you got to do. Just don't bomb it in my face time and time and just hammer it home and pretend you have more rights than I do. You don't. You really don't. It's unbelievable. But here's what I'm getting at. Again, it's really easy to look at everything going on today and think, we're so screwed. But you know what? Are we really? Think about times where you've gone out and you've run into nice people. Somebody held the door open. Somebody said hello. Somebody said good morning. How are you today? There's a lot more of that out there than you think. Okay. Unfortunately, we focus on the negative, and there's a reason for that. One word, one word. I'll give you one guess why we focus on the negative. And if you think in media, you guessed absolutely freaking correct. Okay. And that's what the media reports: negative, toxic, garbage, crapola. Okay, because that's what they're being told to send to you. All right, they're not bringing you all the good stories and all this, and no, negativity sells. Negativity sells. Okay, and we're being force fed a predetermined agenda, and it keeps tensions high. It keeps us on edge. If we're focused on black versus white, or uh, Hispanic, or the border, and all this other crap. They get to kind of do what they want to do. The government just says, "All right, they're occupied." Good night, Snake. So that's what they do. They set up these little scenarios, all right, and the media feeds it to us, just like baby food in a spoon, and we eat it up. That's the worst part. We become a nation of non-thinkers. We don't think. We just take what we're told, like a certain group, and we believe that gospel, and it's unfortunate. Okay, this is the exact reason I stopped watching media. I don't watch news. I don't watch media. I don't go to Yahoo for news. I don't look at news. Period. I'll catch up on some topics that are kinda like breaking, that might have interest in me, but, man, I'm not watching the news. Not doing it. It's the same regurgitated hate. It's all hate. Racism, hate. That's it. I saw a video the other day. As a little African American kid, and he was giving a white policeman a bunch of crap, calling him all the names in the book, kicking him in the shin, had his pants halfway down his butt. Remember, he's about 4 or 5 years old, and he's cussing at the cop. That kid is doomed. He's doomed right now. He's 5 years old, and his life's already determined. He's screwed. We're not parenting. We stopped parenting back in the '90s, it seems like. That's about the time I've kinda tracked it down. A lot of people stopped. They let the internet, the video games, that's what raised your kids. And guess who's doing all the shooting? That age. that same group, and it's just it starts with parenting, and the problem with parenting is people are afraid to do it. They're afraid to do it. So, I don't know anymore. I don't know. I'm not saying everybody's a bad parent. I'm not perfect. I wasn't perfect raising my kids, but I'll tell you what, they knew when they were screwing up, and they knew not to do that crap again, okay? When I laid it down, and they got it. And my wife and I my first wife disagreed on how we raised our kids differently. She grew up spoon in mouth, silver spoon in mouth. I grew up in an Italian family that whacked you first and ask questions later. That was how I grew up. So, a part of that, I realized I couldn't be my father, I get that, but I also learned that, you've gotta lay the law down when it comes to raising your kids because if you don't, somebody else is gonna or they're gonna influence them. It could be the worst influence in the world, alright? But let me get off of that one. That we can go that could be a completely different topic. Completely. Yeah, Triple Eight, you beat their butt. You absolutely beat that butt. I remember one time my kid was acting up in a Walmart, he was swiping stuff off the shelf, and I told him twice. I said, "Don't do it anymore. Pick it up. Don't do it anymore." 3rd time he did it, that was it. Whack on the butt. He got whacked in the middle of the store. I had a woman come up to me and tap me on the shoulder. She goes, "You know what? I really admire your courage." And I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about, lady?" So I'm afraid. I'm afraid to spank my kid. I'm afraid to do it. I'm afraid they're gonna call social services and all this. So, thank you, government. You told us how to raise our kids back in the '90s and Dr. Spock bullshit, and now we have weak generations that are getting ready to run the damn country. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. I'm glad my kids are strong. I'm glad my kids are strong. They grew up independent, they grew up strong, they grew up fighting for what they want and what they believe. So and I grew up the same way. I grew up the same way. My dad was tough on me, but you know what? It made me tough. Made me tough. It is what it is. So, yeah, with the whole media thing, being force fed. That's all it is. We're being force fed what they want us to see, and it's all a distraction. That's all it is. It's just a distraction. Um, did anybody know yesterday in Colorado? I didn't. I just happened to catch it. In Colorado, there was another school shooting. Did you hear about it? I didn't hear about it. I just found out. 2 injuries and a self-inflicted gunshot wound killed the, shooter. Another one in Minnesota in August. I think most of us heard about that one. Michigan in May. Washington and Texas in April. Michigan again in March. Texas again in February, and Tennessee in January. That's just this year. That's just this year. Um, all told in 2025, there have been 4 deaths related to school shootings. It could be a lot worse, but the 4 that you can't tell the 4 that lost their lives that, you know? Can't tell them that. You remember Columbine back in what, 1999, I think? Guys, when Columbine hit, it affected the entire nation. The nation was literally shocked that this could happen in a school. Literally. I remember thinking, "Oh my god," and it just lingered and lingered and lingered. People didn't get over this stuff for years. Nowadays, we hear about a school shooting, and then everybody's like, "Oh, yeah, another one." We've become desensitized, completely desensitized. The Charlie Kirk thing, yeah, everybody's shocked in the beginning, but you know what? Tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow's a new day, right? People move on, people forget. Um, I don't know what else to say about stuff like that, but I'd like to believe that this community, our stacking community is a group of free thinkers. I think we understand where we are. We know what we need to do, and I think we have a certain trust that we're only gonna keep as long as it benefits us. Um, yeah, it's tough, guys. It's tough. But don't everything's not as bad as you think. Remember, you're only seeing the isolated bad, okay? There's a lot more good out there going on. There are a lot better people out there than what we're being right? So, it looks like you're going down, but if you get out and about, if you travel, you're gonna meet good people. You really are. So, that's my hope. Um, yeah, Elle, I was touching on that Ukrainian girl. We kinda covered that already. Guy just came up behind her, stabbed her, and she's in a pool of blood, and nobody cared. Nobody cared. Just kept on walking by. Got too many things to do, I guess, than help a bleeding out girl. But again, that's the media. Media, that's what they prove that's what they show us, right? That's what they chose. Lion says from Massachusetts, obviously not the guns. Yep, yep. Jim's sense ain't so common anymore. Got that right. OTG rides dirty across state lines. I have done the same. Um, it is what it is. Reciprocity in North Carolina is actually pretty damn good, but some of these East Coast states, man, they don't want it. They don't want to hear about your guns. They don't want you to protect yourself, apparently. But yet, and I never have understood that because you're taking away the opportunity of good civilians to protect themselves. So you make all these laws banning all this stuff, and if you take away guns, you think the convicts are you think they're not going to be able to get them? They're going to be the only ones that have them. So, but I'm telling you right now, I'm not going down without a fight. If things go down, I am well prepared. Um, you're gonna have to earn your spot getting in this house. I can promise you. I can promise you. So this old Marine doesn't play. But other than that, that's really what I wanted to cover tonight. So it kind of turned into a rant a little bit, but it's two very important topics. Number one, make sure we remember those we lost in 9/11. And number two, Charlie Kirk, no matter what you thought of him, no matter his affiliation, didn't deserve that shit. Didn't deserve it. Okay. Just like the Democratic lawmaker didn't deserve her fate. All right. I don't care. Parties, I don't care. I don't care. Nobody deserves that because of what they're doing. Now, if you're Hitler or something like that, then I got nothing for you. You need to be taking it. But that's a shot in a million. All right. They're not all like that. So yeah, keep those families in there in your prayers. I'm sure they live with this every year when they're reminded of it. So they probably moved on, and the kids have grown up, and there's that one little part of them that wishes they could have grown up with their father. Okay. All right, Bill. Thanks for being here. I'm getting ready to put it in. I don't. Again, apologies if this rubbed anybody raw, but I did warn you that it was going to be opinionated. It was going to be strong, and I actually this was kind of therapeutic for me because I don't get the chance to do videos like this. I really don't. And if you guys like what we did tonight, I might make it a regular feature every other week, once a month, something like that. We'll just pick topics and we'll have a free for all. So yeah, Nickel, yeah, I had to be nice, man. I don't want the YouTube bots to uh, come on in and start banning my videos and all that. So hopefully you guys understand. Trying to keep it real tonight. And to be quite honest, if you were offended by anything I said tonight, probably not the crowd I need to be hanging with anyway. I'm just being honest. We won't get along. We won't get along. But it seems like everybody here was pretty much open to listening at least. That's all we can do, right? Just have an open mind. Listen. Relic, thank you so much. You didn't have to do that. Thank you so much. OTG, there's nothing I said tonight would offend you. You're like bulletproof, man. Don't even give me that crap. But thank you, Relic. I appreciate that, dude. All right, folks. So that's it for me. I appreciate you guys listening to me vent, and hopefully I said something that kind of made sense tonight, right? But Silverstruck, thank you for being here. It is a tough time. We have a fantastic community here, though. We really do. Um, it is what it is. Concurrent Lion says, "My dad was a conservative. I missed that one. My mom was a lib. I made a libertarian." There you go. I'm from Rhode Island originally, Concurrent, so I know all about our folks up there. Peter J, thank you, man. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Stack that gold. Too much about AOC. And Check says we're all cool with this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, bud. Appreciate you being here. Jim, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Craig, thanks for being here, brother. Appreciate you. And OTG, have a good night. Guys, thank you for being here. And I will see you on Sunday. And I hope you enjoyed what we did tonight. I hope it was something we can do it on a somewhat regular basis. Thank you for being here. You guys are the best. Love this community. Love you guys. Have a great night. Take care.